one or two Republicans have disagreed with Donald Trump after the strikes. One of them is Thomas Massie, who probably under certain situations would be fine with the war. He just thinks that like you need to go through Congress to launch a war, which is in his defense what the Constitution says and the War Powers Act. So he tweeted, "This is not constitutional," in response to the attacks, which is just true. It just is true. I'm sorry that you don't like that, Donald Trump or MAGA, but he's right. And it doesn't mean that Thomas Massie's great. Thomas Massie sucks, man. He really sucks. He sometimes disagrees with Trump briefly, but I believe producer Mike, he was the one no vote on the anti-lynching bill, right? I believe that's the case. In any event, he's not a great guy, but he's right here. And here is how Trump lost his mind over it. He wrote 1,000 words about Massie, saying, you can't even read it, can you, on that graphic? There's so many. And here's a heads up, that's not even the longest tweet we're gonna be showing you today. Anyway, he says he's not MAGA, even though he likes to say he is. Actually, MAGA doesn't want him, doesn't know him, and doesn't respect him. He is a negative force who almost always votes no matter how good something may be. He's a simple-minded grandstander who I'm not gonna read this entire thing, it's absolutely ridiculous. So in that, Trump goes on to say, it was a spectacular military success, which maybe it was, again, remains to be seen. Trump is not saying that because he knows it's true. He's saying it regardless. He might end up being right. He says it took the bomb out of their hands. They weren't making a bomb. They just weren't. It's just a lie. And I don't care how many times I need to say that over the next week, month, 6 months, 5 years that we're in this war. We are not going to allow them to rewrite the history of why they launched us into this conflict. He calls him a lightweight. He's weak or whatever, blah, 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 implies that he just votes no for no reason. I don't understand that. And then he goes on to the whole bill or whatever. The end result of it is that Massie, because he points out that we technically still have a constitution and Trump should abide by it, Trump is now gonna try to take him out and replace him with another Republican. So that's the state of the Republican Party. And Massie responded to all of that, saying, real Donald Trump declared so much war on me today, it should require an act of Congress, hashtag sassy with Massie. Yeah, I don't like him either now, actually. I don't even care that that's bad. What are you doing, man? I get it, he's trying to be funnier, but that's not good. You got a fascist coming after you, buddy. It's serious business.
Going to continue to. This has been a bit of a love and hate war, of course, between these two. Before it was over, that's why he brought up the bill again.
The bill,
that horrible bill that honestly he probably shouldn't have brought up, because this is one of those things, these tactics that has helped some folks be distracted by this process. Because how much have we been hearing from Mike Johnson? Just think about all these things coming together. I know we're focusing on Iran, and this is one of the worst things that's happening in world leadership and politics. But Mike Johnson isn't out talking a lot. I'm not sure, maybe I missed it. I can't hear everything the guy's saying, but he's not over here talking so much. He's not boasting about his big, beautiful bill as much as he was a couple weeks ago, even last week before they launched these attacks. Because he's back in the back door dealing room now, trying to get this done and processed. I know they did it through the House, but they're trying to push the Senate to go through this route now, when we're supposed to be distracted from it. And this dum-dum brings it back up. And we're like, oh yeah, that's right. You're stealing all of our money on top of this. How much money is then gonna go to this war that you've initiated in Iran that's now spreading, as we're seeing literally in front of our eyes right now, to Qatar, potentially going into, and now other strikes coming from Israel to other sites all through the Middle East, because there's this plan, which it has been, as you mentioned, Benjamin Netanyahu's been talking about this for 35, 40 years, but how much he wants to take over the entire region. It's ours, it's theirs. It's ours, not theirs. And President Trump finally did something to have me have the power to take over and declare war anywhere in the world that he wants to. So listen, you can have Thomas Massie come forward and say something, and Trump later says he'll campaign all throughout Kentucky to go after him and all this stuff. But right now, we'll take his one word for it. But Donald Trump and this fight between him and Massie, yeah, it's gonna be a half a day's worth before we going on to more of these attacks. This is the main focus of this whole thing. And again, bro, there has to be enough people to stand up and see how this is going down. I know no one on the right is doing that outside of their tough talk beforehand.
Yeah, and you're right to point out that a lot of this is about pushing other stuff out of the news, like, are we ever gonna find out if Trump is in the Epstein files? That seemed important, but I guess that's several weeks ago. We don't have to worry about that. And yeah, you mentioned that I've been like trying to get updated information about the attacks.
Crazy.
I don't know. It's all over the media. By the way, here's a fun little mental test for you. When you found out that missiles were being fired, I'm talking to the audience. When you found out that missiles were being fired at our base, what was the first thing you thought? Was it like something akin to, oh dear God, I wonder what's gonna happen to our soldiers? Because I guarantee for a lot of our elected officials and for our media, especially Fox News, that's not the first thing they thought. You know, the first thing they thought, thank God, that's what we need. Because now they attacked us. We can do whatever we want. I mean, previously they'd only been like kind of half-heartedly responding to the continued Israeli attack. By the way, Israel was attacking them this morning. The idea that this was just limited strikes against the nuclear facilities, where they've been attacking them for over a week at this point. Well, now they've attacked us. And so forget about did they have nukes or whatever. As we'll get to, Marco Rubio is already like, that wasn't even a relevant consideration, whether they were building nukes. Now it's, we can do whatever we want because they fire these missiles, even if it doesn't kill anyone. And the media is just doing what they always do. I don't know if you saw over the last day or whatever, oh my God, the breathless coverage of the planes and the bombs. And yeah, I think that this sort of technology is interesting objectively, but in the immediate aftermath of the attacks, the media, the predictable rush to hump the bombs on air 24/7, because then it's not about whether we're doing something that might be bad for American interests, might cost us lives, might cost a lot of money, might be illegal or whatever. It's just, how do the bombs work? How does a B-2 actually work? What does it look like in the air? How deep can it go in this recreation of this mountain that we have? That's what they always do. That's what they're doing literally right now.